This is a VEX AIM quick start. This is the VEX AIM system, and we're going to be talking about VEX AIM menus. If you power up the robot for the first time, it's going to open up in the drive mode. However, if the robot has not been linked to the hand controller, the little joystick box with the buttons on it, you need to do that first, because the first thing they want you to do with this VEX AIM robot is to drive it, just like you would an RC car. And for the learners, that gets them used to its motion and how it behaves. If this does come up, then click on it, go pair it, and then back to the drive mode screen. And in this screen, if you look close at it, there's a few things that you can touch to operate it, and some are just things you look at. For instance, up at the top, it's got a Bluetooth status indicator and a battery charge indicator. Down at the bottom, there's an I button for information. If you touch that, it comes up with the name of the robot, the battery, percent charge, again the Bluetooth. And then there's a counterclockwise rotate that is the kind of the traditional go back. If you click on that, it'll go back to this screen, the drive screen. This is where it opened. Now if you look close, you'll see to the left and to the right, you see some images that are going to reflect the next top menu selection to the left and to the right. To the left, you have button coding. To the right, you have projects. And if you look at these light blue or cyan shapes, you can see graphics inside of them that imitate what menu choices in that direction. At any point when you're in this display, it's easy to look at the edge and see which direction to go for whatever menu choice you want. There's only 5. If we switch over to button coding, if we go from drive over to button coding's in the middle. That's what you're looking at. And if you look at the edges, you'll see a little hint of the settings screen. If you look to the right, the drive screen. And that's just swiping to the left or the right takes you to those choices. And if we are on the button coding and we slide to the left, that's the settings screen, and one more slice of the dashboard. Let's go to the right to the project screen. If we click on that, then we can go find the project that we want to operate, and then we can either run it or delete it. If you pick run, then you can let it run until you stop it. If you delete, you have to confirm the delete. Your robot probably didn't come with any kind of a project in it. At this point, you would only be able to drive it with the hand controller. I'm just taking you through the menus real quick. If you go to the button coding, because you can do this without attaching to a computer. If you go to button coding, and you have 4 choices, and these are steps that you use for a sequence. And the top one, go forward, takes the robot forward for 1 robot length. When that executes that button, it just goes forward for 1 length and stops. So right now, what you're going to do is punch in a sequence. If I want to go forward 3 robot lengths, then I would press that top button 3 times. Then if I want to rotate to the left, I would do the rotate left button, the darker cyan, and the magenta or pink if I want to rotate right, and down on the bottom is operate the kicker. That's the little pusher bar at the bottom underneath the vision sensor that kicks out to kick or place sports balls and barrels. And every time I click on one of those 4 action buttons, I'm going to increment the display by 1. Whatever you push, you should see the display change. That is your feedback, so you know that the step actually went into the sequence. And as you keep adding steps or actions into the sequence, that number is going to continue to increment. And then at some point, you're going to be ready to run it. At that point, you just push the start button, and as it's running, it will highlight the 4 action buttons as those steps are being executed. Now, at any time, if you want to stop, you just press the screen and it'll stop running the project. Now, in the course of putting in your sequence from the touch buttons and you mess it up, you can't back up and erase a step. You have to clear it and start over. To clear the project, just lift the robot, shake it until you hear the erasing sound. And then when the project is erased, the counter in the center will clear and you'll see the VEX symbol again. Now looking at some more in the menus, the dashboard. If you click on that, the first thing you get is a drivetrain test. If you click on that, it's going to move forward 100 millimeters, then stop. Then you've got AI vision. If you click on that, it's going to show you the actual live image, live data feed, and if there are any barrels, balls, or April tags, you're going to see them in there and they're going to be identified. Notice it identifies them as sports ball, orange barrel, and then it gives a confidence score. And it's 99% confident that it is an orange barrel or a sports ball. If you go to the dashboard, again, the choice you're going to get is kicker. And from here, you can test the kicker. In other words, every time you press it, the arm is going to extend out to kick whatever's in front of it. Then there's another one. The next one is going to say place test. I don't have a graphic for that, but basically there's a difference between kicker and place test. The kicker pushes out at full force to kick whatever the object is in front of it, whereas place test pushes out just hard enough to place the object out in front of the robot. This is typically, you would use this to place barrels at locations. LEDs, press this and you can switch between red, green, and blue to test the LEDs. Now a lot of this is for troubleshooting. If you want to see what it's doing with the accelerometer and look at the change in inertia, you can push this button and it'll show you in 4 quadrants what the inertia is doing. The controller itself, if you need to test that because you don't think it's working, then you go here, you push that, and then as you operate the joystick and the buttons, the little symbols will light up on this display to show you that it's responding. And notice in both this one and the previous one, it shows the control box up in the upper left-hand corner where you didn't see that in the other display. You can see it up there next to the Bluetooth. And then, of course, if you press on this, then you can go to sound and test the sounds. Okay, the settings, when you click on that menu, you're going to be able to change the language. I mean, other than English, you can change it from English to several different languages. If you keep going, volume, and by the way, anytime you make changes, like to the volume where you're actually changing a setting or you change the language, there's a green check mark at the bottom of the screen that you use to save your choice. A link controller, radio, about, and factory reset.